And the Warriors are headed to the play-in. Is there any irony to the fact that a James Harden-led Clippers team is the team that we just can't beat? Stylistically, for whatever reason, it just seems no matter what the context is around the game, we come up short against this Clippers team. The game starts out and we're blitzing them. We've got the home crowd is going, and we're sending these aggressive traps very similar to the ones in the beginning of the season, that 12-3 start. And you could see it kind of overwhelm the Clippers. They weren't ready for that speed and that force, and turnovers led to Warriors offense. And what was the biggest? At some point, maybe it was a 9 or 10 point lead, but then the shot making of the Clippers showed up and they settled down as far as understanding, okay, we're going to have to move the ball quicker out of these traps to the second side. And Chris Dunn goes 3 of 3, well, 4 of 4, hits 3 threes. That in itself, in the moment you shrug and you say, oh, okay, he ain't going to hit all of them, right? But like, you knew it was going to come down to the final possession, and Dunn giving them double-digit points out of those traps. Huge game for Chris Dunn. Former, what they say, top 5 pick. I remember him at Providence. Kind of gives me Jaden Ivey vibes. I know Ivey's a much better offensive player, but just so athletic, not necessarily great at skills. Kuminga benched on ice. That's wild. So, like, I understand technically this is a regular season game, but it kind of feels like an announcement that Kuminga and the Warriors are parting ways. Do you agree? I mean, you're like, you cut him out of the rotation. Now, I get it, Kerr shortened the rotation. And in a vacuum, I don't hate it in the sense of Kuminga's been so up and down. And I haven't listened to any of the post game or anything like that. I'm just giving y'all a instant reaction here. And I know live, I'm going to do some live streams during the playoffs, whether we make a run or not. I'm still trying to figure out my setup. I got to get another. Y'all ain't worried about that. Another USB, like these MacBooks, they only come with a couple plugs. And for my setup, I need another one. But Kuminga bench, to me, I mean, it seems like it's over. Like I feel like you're going to lose him now. What the other thing that they did that was interesting was you saw like Buddy Hield on Kawhi or Harden a lot, or Kawhi. And what they're saying is in the strategy, like, okay, we'll literally put our weakest defender on you, but it's about the backside and the help and showing that is going to, that was the strategy with it. Playoff Jimmy Butler shows up, and that was like the stark difference in these previous matchups where we know that they tend to do a good job on Steph, and Steph still pushed through, man. And we'll get to that. But we didn't have an answer when they would shut Steph down, right? We don't have a guy that you can give the ball to and run offense through. And Jimmy was punishing Bogdanovich. He was punishing everybody. And he's just so cerebral. He's so slick with everything that he does out there. He was pulling up for his midi. And what that did was allow Steph to not have to do heavy lifting in that first half. Jimmy carries us to the half. And then again, we go back in hindsight, but Powell, end of the half, 40-footer. End of the third quarter, he gets to some sort of floater. Second half, the change in strategy, the zone. The zone that, again, something we saw much more early in the season with fresh legs and Stackhouse as the new defensive coordinator, if you will. And I agree with the strategy when you look at the ISO scoring of Harden and Kawhi. Let's talk about Kawhi here for a second. Shout out to whoever was in the comments in the last video, Clipper fan, I'm assuming. He's like, you're so disrespectful, not even mentioning Kawhi. And I was like, I could see where you would think that. But honestly, it was out of respect because he gonna do what he gonna do. Like, I didn't have a strategy for Kawhi. You assume Kawhi is gonna do what he does, and he did what he did. The autistic assassin. Kawhi is so, And you heard Bob Myers talking about how you haven't seen him move. He hasn't seen him move this well in years. And I agree. I think that all passes the eye test for everyone. You're like, damn, Kawhi's looking spry, right? He's looking spry, healthy, confident. And he's so sudden that the combination of his suddenness and his strength and then that high release, there's not much you can do with him. There's not much you can do with him. And I joke about, autistic assassin, but like what I mean by that is because he kind of has this robot brain and he's just so even keel all the time, it makes him even more devastating, clutch, efficient. His emotions never get up and down. So he's just like this steady robot. He's like the Terminator. And second half, so it was at first, it was the whole game from Kawhi, right? But in that first half, when the Clippers got back into it, a lot of it was we had to send two at Kawhi, and their others were making shots off of that. And so second half, we go into the zone, and that's why I agreed with it for the most part is Harden and Kawhi, we just didn't have an answer for isolating defensively. And so the zone was basically to say, no, we're not going to let Kawhi and Harden ISO us to death in this second half. And it worked. I thought it disrupted their offense and their rhythm, but the cost of it was the defensive rebounding. And that's when it's funny. You talk to any coach, and listen, college level, like you're gonna get some people that like zones, right? These guys that drop in and out of it. But a lot of coaches hate zones for two reasons. One, especially at the lower levels, they feel like it breeds laziness. Like it doesn't teach guys how to get down and defend. And then you kind of you can get lazy because it's like, oh, was it you or you? Like no one actually has an actual responsibility and assignment. But the second big one that most coaches will talk about is rebounding. If you're going to get into a zone, you're going to give up offensive rebounds. And the Clippers, obviously bigger. How many volleyball taps did Zoo have sitting in that dunker spot? And they just came flying in. And so it was like a give and take. I understood the zone, but we were giving them a ton of second chance opportunities. Back and forth it went. No one could really gain any separations. Let me acknowledge the two young fellas that did play. Post played a bit. I thought he was fine in his minutes. I don't think he made a basket that, that's playoffs. Like he's not going to get as many open threes, but he's shown a willingness to attack a closeout and make a play. But I thought he was fine in his minutes and he showed his size. But Moses Moody and Pods showed the fuck up, right? They showed up. Pods gave us the offense that we've seen over this last couple weeks. And Moses, okay, we talk about playoff Jimmy. Clearly we saw that, but it's like, Moses, we know the defense is what he's hanging his hat on now. He took it up to another level. What do you have, like 3 steals, a couple blocks? I thought he did an amazing job, especially in that first half. Of I'm not drinking beer. I'm drinking water, y'all. I'm sober mind for this L. But he just did an amazing job disrupting at the point of attack their rhythm and just not letting them dictate what they wanted to do with his reaching, his poking, and just being super physical. But back to getting killed in this zone on the glass and Clippers, what are they, 6-7 point lead? It feels like it's slipping away. And the chef wakes up. Not to say that he was asleep, but he finds a rhythm and he finds some opportunities as Dunn's just draped all over him for that first half. And then you imagine, look, the thumb, I've said this every time it happens with somebody, but right, like y'all know, if you sprain your thumb, the first time you do it, you're like, dang, I didn't realize my thumb is like half my hand whenever I'm doing something. And so it goes without saying that I'm sure that, it's not helping Steph, but he gets going and he's starting to pull up from 3 rhythms. The energy's there. We get back into this game. Final possession, I must admit, I didn't like the foul from Draymond. Now it worked out, but it felt, I don't know. I don't know about that one. I guess we'll never know. But Draymond take foul on Kawhi. It's a tie game with like 9 seconds to go. And so now I guess Kawhi's working with less time, so he can't get to his spots. Draymond forces a fadeaway, step back 3. Overtime, here we come. And I don't subscribe to many statistical things that get thrown out at us in basketball games. But one of them that's super crazy is first team to score in overtime wins like 70+% of the time. That's such an overwhelming stat, and I've seen it happen so many times that's one that I kind of do believe in. Superstition, statistically, whatever, combine them. And I forget, we missed a couple. We had a couple. There was a couple possessions where, and again, the full breakdown will be on my Patreon tomorrow. We'll go through everything and get in depth and have some fun even in the loss and do all that. So I'll put that link in the description. But Pods got stuck a couple times having to take some tough shots, but he made some tough shots as well, right? And we couldn't get it. It felt like we had a couple good looks to be the first team to score in overtime. Steph, that's what it was. Steph cuts back door and tries to finish the pass all in one motion. He doesn't want to come down with it. I'll have to take a look at the tape tomorrow. I don't think he needed to do it. You get why. With the way they're guarding him and chasing him around, trying to speed him up, he's never open. So I see why he tried to do it, but he smokes that, and then he's down. So it's 5-on-4, Harden corner three. Is it Jimmy on Harden? Next possession, he dances into a step back three. And there you have it. It's a 6-point deficit in that overtime. And look, Kerr went defense with GP2. You saw that it did hurt the offense at times, where GP2 would get the ball in the middle or in the dunker spot, and it was just like we had to reset. But again, we can question it because we lost. Who would you have had out there other than GP2? Would you have went big? Because does Looney finish some of those? I don't know what the answer would be to that, but he's out there obviously because this Harden Kawhi ISO game, and we did a really good job, I thought, overall of protecting Steph, keeping him off a Kawhi or Harden matchup. We were basically double switching, and because both Kawhi and Harden don't attack quickly, we were getting away with it, right? Like they'd get the Steph switch and Steph would switch back. So GP2 was in there, we know, for his defensive purposes, but offensively, yeah, it hurts the spacing. And when he'd catch it, we'd have to reset the possession. Now, the refs in the regulation, and I had this working theory coming into the game. I was like, listen, if we want to play conspiracy NBA theory, it would behoove the NBA to push Warriors-Lakers, you'd think like that would be the highest rated playoff matchup of all these playoffs. And again, to start and through most of the game, it kind of felt that way. It wasn't like we were getting a super favorable whistle, but I thought we were getting a home court whistle for the most part. But then in that overtime, Harden throws the lob and they send him to the line. I think Steph had made a three. Steph went crazy late. I know a lot of y'all want to hear about Steph Curry. I don't know what to say. He went crazy late. We got everything that we could have had. Now he did have, I haven't checked the box score. I'm guessing 5 or 6 turnovers. And especially the early ones were probably unavoidable. But in that overtime and down the stretch, he zoomed ahead trying to split the trap. Look, it's give and take. It's give and take. Like the same reason Steph can just go crazy and give us 10 points in 90 seconds and just flip a game. Sometimes he's going to get overexcited and get sped up, and he got trapped in the corner there. So he did have turnovers. But I guess if we want to take some of the positives away from this is, what did Steph damn near hang 40 with that thumb wrapped? So hopefully that's not an issue, this upcoming week. But the call on Harden, I think it was a 5-point game where he's throwing the lob to Zubac and they say it's shooting when it was clearly a lob. That was probably the worst call of the game. It was just a bad call, flat out. Like, just use your heads, referees. So they took it like literally, and that's my problem with the refereeing, even in the replaying, where it's like by the wording of the rules. No. What did you see? We don't have AI referees. You're a human. You know what he was doing. Make the human call. So they blow that. Harden makes 2 free throws. Then on the other call, the floater from Jimmy, I thought that was the right call. It looked like it was coming down. To block a floater, good luck with that. There's maybe, a handful of guys in the league that are going to do that, but I don't blame Jimmy for making the attempt. GP2, I don't know. Obviously, he misses so many games. He was kind of getting blown by Harden. I guess maybe selling out on the three. You know what I'm saying? But he was kind of getting blown by Harden late, like more than they were like straight line drives, more than you would have thought he would have. I also thought Moses in that second half when we just couldn't come up with the loose balls. Pause. But like there were these 50-50 balls and you heard Draymond like, just grab the ball, right? Like I thought Mo wore down maybe. They had an adrenaline dump and he used so much energy in that first half. But it comes down to there was this ATO and it's a Draymond corner three. Now Draymond hit a couple big threes. I understand that. Not sure I love that call. And he misses it. And you know, it just slipped away, y'all. It just slipped away. I quickly glanced at Twitter and people were upset at the last ATO to Buddy, that skip pass. I mean, you know, that to try to get it to Steph, and then you had a compromised Jimmy. Well, Jimmy was the inbounder, right? So I get it. I get being mad. I think anyone not named Steph or Jimmy taking that final shot, I think people were going to complain. I thought the execution of it was fine, but Buddy, his biggest issue shooting the ball, I've been hampering on it all season long, is he doesn't settle his feet. And so he gets off balance from his base and he didn't settle his feet. He was excited. He was sped up. He didn't get on balance. It was a good look. I understand. And again, y'all can feel how you want to feel, as you know. Like you can, I'm sure y'all are, again, if I go back on Twitter, it's going to be Kerr's fault for this one. I don't see it that way. What they drew up got us a clean look to tie the game. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. And look, so the positives, Steph, damn near 40 ball with the wrap thumb. Didn't seem to be affecting his shooting. Their physicality and Chris Dunn, you know, how they defend Steph, you know, held him down for a little bit. And then you got an absolute playoff Jimmy performance, but then he bangs knees. Was it a Kawhi drive there? He and Draymond combined for the contest. And I was hoping it was needed. First, I was hoping it wasn't an ankle. Say, okay, it's knee to knee. And we know that pain is finite. You know, you can shake that one off. But then as they went through the replay, it looks like it might have been just above the knee. And so now are we talking about some sort of quad contusion, lower quad contusion, like, you know, a Charlie horse, a dead leg that could be a knot and could be bothering him this week? So that was devastating there in the final, you know, 40 seconds of the game. But, you know, he's, as advertised, playoff Jimmy, even though technically not a playoff game. And then again, Pods and Moody, they were ready for the moment. So I think that's super important as we navigate this week here. But Jimmy's status, like, you know, Jimmy's going to try to play, but at what capacity? At what capacity? We've got Memphis Tuesday. You heard Bob Myers say it, like, I mean, that was so intense, yo. Like, to just jump right into what felt like a Game 7 atmosphere and the roller coaster that it was, the effort level that it was played at, the physicality, the emotional letdown of losing is going to make Tuesday super tough. It's going to make Tuesday super tough against this Memphis team that, look, we just beat them, like a week ago? I understand we've done well against them this year. And they've got their own issues with coaching and chemistry and maturity. But sometimes immaturity can work for you in the sense of they're so young and dumb, they may not even feel the pressure, right? Like they're going to play loose. That's who Memphis is, and with Jackson Jr. and Ja. And again, the emotional letdown from an older team that left everything out there, and now, you know, chipped up even more with Jimmy. Man, we might have 2 playing games. So that's my fear. I'm super positive about how the young guys played. The Kuminga thing is shocking to me. And again, Kerr will have an explanation. I don't know what the explanation is. I haven't heard any of this. I've just jumped on to react for y'all and give you some content and here, rain or shine, right? It ain't going to just do it when we win. But yeah, I guess my concern is because the last 48 hours, the last week, you know, the people around the organization, the message has kind of been, Well, we've got 3 play-in games. We've got 3 games to get into the playoffs. The Clippers, Memphis, and then if you lose to Memphis, you get another play-in game against the 9-10, right? Okay, cool. Let's just say we emotionally we can't recover. Physically, we can't recover for this game Tuesday against Memphis. Ja goes crazy throwing grenades at our bench and shit, and we lose. Jimmy's on ice. I don't know. We play the 9-10, I believe it would be Thursday, and we win. It's either Dallas or Sacramento. I'm trying to think who would I like to come out of that 9-10 matchup. I can't believe we're doing this now, where I'm looking at the 9-10 matchup. But hey, it's been a reality the whole time. We all knew this could be possible. I think I like Dallas out of that matchup, just with their size. But then it's Dallas Thursday. Okay, Clay. We get a Clay play-in game. Okay, that might be a little bit of fun. And we get him. We get him, right? Enough's enough. So we're in. OKC, Thunder, 1-8. Hey, they don't have the experience. SGA ain't going to get, like, I can see spinning some positivity into that matchup as opposed to the Lakers. How much are they going to have left? Like, are we going to be on E from having to play through this week in the play-in games in essentially game 7 environments with this older team? Bandages everywhere? Shit, man. We needed this one. We needed this one. But I don't, again, I'll go through the tape in the patron breakdown. And by the way, I will be covering all the playoffs regardless of, how far the Warriors make it. Not every game, but there will be playoff coverage all the way through the finals on the patron. And I actually have a lot of fun with it because it's refreshing to cover other teams as well at some point. So great way to support the channel. I'll have that breakdown tomorrow, but I don't have a lot of blame to throw out there. Steph smoked a couple layups. Draymond smoked a layup. But that's what it is. I know that's what you get mad and you get frustrated as a fan. We just got out. Listen, the Clippers, their shot making down the stretch is terrifying because they don't need to necessarily execute, right? How many times did we have a really good defensive stance? There's a loose ball or something swung around and someone just made an incredible shot. You've got James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and Norman Powell, all just super tough shot making. And that's the difference between the two teams. Obviously, they don't play the same, but they have so many shot makers and shot making down the stretch of the games where we became. Now, I will say this. I did think even when Steph was cooking towards the end of regulation, I think we had like a 3 or 4 point lead because he had got the and one, 3 free throws or whatnot. And you understand, you want to ride the hot hand, Steph's cooking. I thought with about a minute 30, you could have went to Jimmy there. You could have went to Jimmy there because we were in the bonus. But this is all in hindsight. This is all in hindsight. And what I'm saying is I don't have a lot of blame to pass out. What are you going to do? Blame Draymond for missing a layup? Like, it just doesn't work that way, man. Basketball, like there wasn't any egregious errors. Was there too many buddy minutes? Maybe, right? Like I get it didn't work out ideally because we took the L. But as I sit here right now, I thought they played well. I thought we played well enough. We came up against a Clippers team, again, with maybe the best shot making in the league right now. Who else has more shot making? And when I say that, like you'll say, okay, the Celtics shoot 63s a game and they make all these shot making of meaning like a guy in your face ISO scoring between Kawhi, Harden, and Powell. That's what they want to do. And so when you get into a tight game against them, you're usually going to end up on the wrong end because they don't need to run offense. And it just puts so much pressure on your defense. And then the free throw shooting, I don't know what the percentage is. I think we missed like 5 or 6 free throws. We can butterfly effect so many missed opportunities. You win as a team, you lose as a team. I don't have a lot of blame to go around, but I am concerned, obviously, with Jimmy's knee, some sort of Charlie horse. They got to put him in the cryo chamber. Yeah, he's going to play Tuesday, but you need to win. You need to beat Memphis. Like I won't even say that. I was going to say without clutch minutes, that would be super tough, right? But like. You got to beat Memphis. If we have to play 2 play-in games, which would mean we would have the Thunder, we don't stand a chance. We don't stand a chance. We're not going to have enough juice left in the battery